Hey everyone, my name is Yasmin. I'm the founder of Sanya, and today I have Alex with me, my good friend, who I've asked to come and ask me some questions about holding space, which is the course starting next month. And it's quite a course that's hard to describe in just one email or just one event description. So we're gonna have a bit of a chat about it. So if it interests you, you'll get a deeper sense of what it's all about.
Cool, thank you. So my first question is, what does it mean to hold space?
You kept the hardest question for the first one, but no, it's a great place to start, because what does this term really mean? And in fact, it's actually something very hard to describe, and probably holding space means something different to many different people. But for me, it's about showing up and being a container to support someone who is moving through what we can call a liminal space, which is kind of the space of the unknown, where we're in a growth phase and we're moving between one version of ourselves and the other. That's kind of what a sacred space is all about. It's a journey between one state of being and another. And holding space is the support that we give ourselves and each other to help us move through that space. Having said that, it's not just about liminal space, because we can hold space for each other just to show up in a moment. It doesn't need to necessarily be about growth. I always, when I think about holding space, I think about the opposite of holding space, which is like nowadays, right? It's so easy to have a human interaction with someone and you just feel a bit like hurt by the lack of presence that they gave you, or maybe they were aggressive for no reason, and you just feel like, wow, that space wasn't held very consciously. Taking it even further, sometimes we really need to just express how we feel, and that person says, well, you don't have a right to feel that way, or you shouldn't feel that way, or they make it about themselves. And I think we all have that moment in our life where we just need to express ourselves in the presence of somebody else, and being able to hold that for ourselves, for our own expression, but being able to be a safe space for others to let their guard down and actually express what they need to express. That for me is holding space.
Cool. And so, for example, it could be used when you're in a scenario where you meet someone and they share something and it's a bit of an uncomfortable thing or vulnerable thing, and you kind of just don't know how to react to what they've shared, and you want to help them, but you kind of freeze a little bit and you need to sort of give that person support, but often we're just not given the tools to know how to deal with an uncomfortable situation. Or we walk into a room and something uncomfortable happens, and we kind of just want to pretend it didn't happen and leave.
Yeah,
something like that.
So. Freeze, fight, or flight. I think it's really interesting that you brought that up, because obviously, like, the more intense the emotion, the harder it is to hold. So it's easy for us to hold space when we're just, we're showing up in a conversation, we're having a coffee, and we're giving each other that gift of our attention. But when someone walks into the room and they're, for example, super angry at something that just happened, it's a lot harder to hold that space, which is why we do need training to understand how to deal with the intensity of emotion. Firstly, with our own, because if I haven't dealt with my own issues and my own anger, when someone turns up angry, I will reject it, I will feel overwhelmed, I will feel scared, I wouldn't know how to deal with it. But if I've already worked with anger and I understand it and I've made peace with it, and I also see the beauty of it and that it can have a purpose, then it's a lot easier for me to just take that person and just say, like, it's okay, like, you can express yourself now, how are we going to move forward, or what are we going to do next?
Okay.